Hi guys, this is Dave. Gonna be doing another kind of a review and modification type video for my Mark 43 suit. Remember, this is for my suit only, not anybody else's. Individual results may vary. So once again, let's go have a look and I'll show you what I did. So let's go. Okay, coming up onto the abdomen portion. I separated it from the main chest, as you can see here, just to make it easier to put on and off. I did have two conventions, so the last convention, which I just got back from, worked out pretty well, but pieces started falling apart once again. So what I ran into was my cod piece started really falling apart on me pretty badly, so you can see the paint, once again, not holding up, it's a god-awful mess. They hot glued all that, which everybody has pretty much noticed by now, with whoever's gotten their suits. Hopefully you guys won't run into this, but it goes pretty much right there. And I've done a lot of quick fixes trying to get this thing to work. You can see that right there. I added a piece of metal with rivets and just trying to save this thing, but it's really becoming a pain. And so if anybody's got some really good ideas, shoot them my way, because I'm getting pretty frustrated. I'm probably going to end up ultimately adding probably a heavier piece of plastic and putting that in, and then repainting it so it will work. But for now, this is just such thin plastic. It's not that great. I don't like it. Also, in my last video, guys, the binding posts. A recommendation is either use some Loctite, or something to really get these things in there, because finger tighten them, it works, but it doesn't. And so far, I've lost the spares just using, being at finger tight. So I'm just trying to get it to where I can fit this thing over my waist. If I have to add elastic or something in, I probably will, but right now it's still an experiment in progress. As you can see, I lost a piece here, which is that. So I think if I can either get another piece of small plastic, I can put that back on and paint it, and kind of take it from there. Repainting, like touch-up, guys, I used gold, like the testers stuff, which you can see here. Use it for touch-up on small stuff, like the rivets, if you use any, or just small areas. I did it on this. It didn't match. I thought it would. I'm not that pleased with it. It scratched up, it discolored, so I think I'm gonna have to go over to a car touch-up pen with the gold. Hopefully there's one out there I can find at like Pep Boys or AutoZone or something like that. That should work. I added the clips, as you can see, three for the back and the two up front. Just kind of going around here. I'm not that pleased with this back piece right here. I've noticed in a lot of my pictures that I've had taken, it looks like I'm actually wearing a car bumper. Maybe it's because I got a big ass or something. That's my issue, but I guess I need to work out more. But with this, it sticks out quite a lot, and I'm not that happy with it. Maybe it's just a redesign where I need to bring this part in. So it's going to be a work in progress on that part. Moving on, I had to touch up here, and it didn't really take that well, so I'm probably going to have to use the Rust-Oleum, because you see it's really rubbing quite a lot when you have the when the upper torso is on, so it does rub. So I might have to end up, I don't know, adding something. I'm not sure what. But moving on, I've been re-engineering the legs quite a bit, and for what I've discovered, I have ended up taking out these parts where the knee are and the pieces for the back of the knee. You don't need them, especially if you want bend and this, that, and the other. So what I've discovered after a lot of hours of pretty much having Tourette's syndrome set in quite often and studying and everything, I ended up having to do this. So I'll give you an overview real quick of what, sorry about that. Here's what that looks like. I had a pair of boots that I had some leather pieces on. This is what I used so I can bend. So now I can bend, kneel, lunge, you name it, do the poses. Works out really well. It's still kind of tight. I've got a little bit of adjustment to do, but it does work. They're fantastic. They're leather pieces. Now you guys can probably go with some vinyl. Let me take this out so I can show you. I would probably recommend vinyl, like a good heavy vinyl, to do this with. That way, just one piece, but make sure that you measure out, around your leg first, so that you have enough room to put this thing on and you have enough room to bend. These were just one piece that like I said, I just had laying around. I wasn't using them, so I ended up adding the elastic in, and just to make it easy on myself, I just stapled it in. Let me go on the inside. I stapled it in and folded down the staple so they wouldn't poke or jab or anything like that. So it works out for me. This was my idea for what I used, so it does work for me on this. If you guys go with the vinyl stuff, to give it this look, you might have to sew that in if you want, but it looks just kind of close to that, to give you an idea, kind of an overlap, but I think it worked out awesome, for my particular use. So that was really good. The way this thing is working out when I do bend, it opens up quite a lot, and that will show. So you're really not revealing anything. It still looks like it's part of the suit, which is really good. What I've also run into, guys, is not so much for this part, but this part on the knee. Let me turn this thing over, because I've riveted it in, is that this plate here, I was having some difficulty with, so I had to rivet it in, and it was rubbing against my kneecap, so it was rubbing the damn skin right off. So I've had some issues with that. And so what I've done, I've gone to Joann's Fabrics and got some fabric. Let me go over here. Is the fabric remnants. You can really get some good deals. This is an expensive type of material, but with these they had it 50% off, and I got 2 rolls, and this one in particular was, I think it was like $6. So yeah, definitely a good score on that one. And I mean, this is just, it's awesome. It's like a suede and like a silk type backing. It's fantastic. So I'm going to use that. I had the one piece of the leg right here, as you can see down here for the bottom. I had it riveted on. I think I must have stepped wrong or whatever the case was, and it snapped right off. And so now I just got to redo it. Easy fix, but whatever. As you can see with the paint, where a lot of that had chipped, and I just kind of filled in real quick with the red model paint. That stuff there. So just to give you an idea with the colors. So that's what I used. Ended up going to buy this. So I'm gonna sand it down, repaint the whole thing. It should give me the same color that I'm looking for as far as this goes. Not that big of a deal, but I'm a perfectionist, and that's just pretty much how I do it. But individual results may vary with whatever you use. This is what I used, of course, for this. It does look really good when you first spray it on, but then when you go to start using it and it rubs, starts to get rubbed in, little touch up here or there, but that's why I left it loose, so that way I can repaint it if necessary, and which I still have to do, just give it a little bit of a touch up. Not that big of a deal, but that stuff works awesome. On another video I did happen to see that someone else did was the plastic dip, and you get this like electrical conduit covering, and it's split here, and it's for in between the fingers, and In fact, let me do this here just to give you an idea. So when you look at a lot of the pictures, and a lot of guys probably already know this, it has that look, on the suit when you have your hands open. So what this guy suggested was get this plastic dip, spray it on, because it peels right off, and then when it does, when you peel it off, sorry for the bad video, is that, when you peel it off, it spreads out, and then, of course, paint it red, and fills in between the fingers, and awesome. So that was a really clever idea, not mine, and so I don't remember the guy's name that did it, so thanks for that. That was really a stroke of genius on that one. I did experiment with my hands and the fingers. I had this elastic. It worked, but it didn't. It did, however, make the fingers, come back really strong and into place, but as far as bending them was kind of difficult. Not that you really bend your fingers that much, but it started not to hold, because I had actually epoxied these in, and so the more I started messing around with it, doing, with hand, trying to shake people's hands, or, whatever the case was, just didn't work for me. So I ripped everything out again and went ahead and got the round elastic cord that they had originally, but this is a little bit bigger and heavier duty. So I'm going to do that. With the hands. Opening, closing, yes, they got the Velcro. I've kind of discovered the use of magnets. I'm going to go with an 11-pound pull bar magnet. The website is called AmazingMagnets.com, and they're very cheap. I think you can get 25 for I think it's like $15, something like that. So really good, and I'm going to do that. This area here, I'm probably going to redo because it leaves a big, huge opening somewhat like this, and I'm not too pleased with that. And, yeah, not cool. So, that's another work in progress. Also, too, I added a piece of Velcro here that was already on top of that little foam piece there to go here. So let me pan back a little bit so that when you got that going on there, yeah, it didn't work out for me too well. So I'm gonna end up taking that off and probably just using the foam piece, just hot gluing it back. We'll see what happens. Just a little experimentation, but I don't recommend that one, doing that at all. And this part here, I'm gonna have to end up doing again, because it seems to be kind of wearing out somewhat. Very important, guys, the button. This popped off on me a couple of cons ago, and so I ended up having to glue it. And it'll still, if you lose that, it's not that big of a deal, but it is. So make sure it glue that on. Be careful when you put it down there, just to make sure your button works, because you don't want that sticking on you. So just be careful, when you, just a little, like a dot of super glue or something will work, very, very easy. The wrist pieces I tried to use again at the last con. Didn't really work out so much for me. I did bend them. Remember, they are very flexible, but it will break if you're not careful, if you go to fold it or something. So I got the round shape pretty much going, because originally, as you can see, it was kind of like teardrop almost. I just went ahead and undid the zipper so it'd make it a little bit easier. To get this going with the round is just take it and try and do this with one hand, so bear with me. Wrap it up, get it as tight as you can, as you can see. Put a piece of tape around it, rubber band, let it hold that shape for quite, overnight, whatever it takes. Put a little heat on it, hair dryer. Heat gun you might want to be careful with. I don't really recommend that because you might ruin your paint. So even if you just want to set it out in the sun, that might be a better idea. Let it sit, but get this thing as tight as you can get it, and then when you let go of it, it will pretty much give you the round shape that you need versus the teardrop, which wasn't working out for me too good. I didn't use them. I felt they were kind of in the way, so I'm probably going to end up using like some rubber piece that I found and just cut them to shape, but whatever. Going to the shoes, I redid my shoes, so I had an old pair of Skechers, threw in there. That worked out pretty good. They kind of fattened out the plastic a lot, but for the most part, it definitely gave me the comfort that I needed, much less the support, for my feet. This is a rubber piece. It was off of an engine cap, so that's it's kind of like, yeah, it's just flexible rubber. I velcroed in there so it would stay on both sides, so that almost the same color, but you really can't tell when you're walking around, and it's pretty durable. Been losing little pieces here and there, been chipping off just from walking around because they used the foam. So remaking the bottom of that's not that big of a deal, but you can see that it really takes a beating when you're walking. I painted the elastic gold just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. I used foam here, little sheets of foam, which is this. Sorry for the blur. So I used that 2mm thick foam. That worked out. Painted it, and this is the outside of the shoe. I'm probably gonna just end up using this plastic anyway, because on the inside that took a lot of damage and it didn't hold up very well, so I wasn't too pleased. But that's the inside, not that anybody's really looking at the inside of my feet. Other than that, it still did pretty good. The walking around, you got to be kind of careful because, as you can see, this didn't hold up worth a crap. Wasn't too happy with that, so a little super glue or Gorilla Glue, whatever the case is. This is mainly the adhesives I've been using for a lot of the project. For the bottom, for here, I did end up using pretty much all three of these because I didn't want it to go anywhere. It's a hit or miss. I did end up using just the epoxy just to give it the added strength because it wasn't holding with the rubber cement or the Gorilla Glue. So I use this epoxy is a 3,450 psi strength, so plenty of strength there. No worries because you're walking for one. So yeah, we'll just kind of go with that. Just moving around to the helmet. Really didn't too much. I just added in padding, for comfort, and that's pretty much all I did. Just padding I got from work that we just had laying around, and so it worked out for me. If you guys, there's you can use motorcycle helmet padding. I don't know if there's anything that's like pre-made or pre-formed or whatever use whatever you want. There's also, you can use what the egg crate type foam you can throw in there. Whatever you can find just for comfort and so that the helmet doesn't really move around on you too much. So that's kind of like your own discretion as to what you want to use. This is what I use. Worked out for me, and that's pretty much as far as any modifications on the helmet. I did end up adding some pieces here for the chin, so that helped out quite a bit. Other than that, it worked out nice. Just to give you an idea. Let me back up. The leg, my mods, I know with the harness system they send is just, it's crap. So what I did was chop it all up, use the nylon, and I just made it for like belt loops, and use my belt that I wear every day, leather belt, and you put the leg on, measure it out, and use it for support. The pieces here, where it goes around the butt area, this kind of gave me a lot of difficulty. I used the elastic to bring it closer together. And even when I still have it on, it doesn't look good because the big gap that I have as far as, you know, the back piece, you know, with this right here, sucks. So I still got some modifications to do with that. But for the most part, this works out. It's a hit or miss, but it does work as far as support goes. I had this piece actually come apart right here, and I don't know why, because this seemed to be a very heavy duty like acrylic, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. So I'm gonna have to reinforce, probably by adding a strap, you know, coming down here for the support, and go that route. That's pretty much as far as that goes. Other than that, it works really nice. With the arm, getting a lot of wear and tear here due to the fact that that's aluminum all up in there, and it's scratching it up really nice, and it's you can see with the cracks, it's tearing up the paint, cracking it pretty bad. So I'm going to be losing that. I'm going to have to sand it and repaint it. One of the areas down here, I put a piece of Velcro in, and right above that, sorry about that, right above the bolt, and so that makes it nice and smooth. It's not scratching anymore, and so that worked out pretty good. Use whatever you want, guys. It's just a big experiment in re-engineering and, you know, just stuff. It's just so many little things that add up to a lot. So use your discretion on materials, but this is just what I'm running into with mine and the ideas that I have. So if anybody's got any better ideas, by all means, share them with everybody and or myself, because I could really use some, because I'm getting pretty frustrated to work on this thing every day. This is getting ridiculous. These pieces, they go underneath the arm. This stuff right here tends to dig into my armpits. I don't know about anybody else, but I riveted mine in, which actually I have to rivet that one back in because it popped off. But for now, it still works. Let's think about chopping them in half, and since it would pretty much go on the inside, on the front of the chest, it's a pain in the butt. I don't know what else to do with it. I don't really want to cut it, but if I have to, I will. And I'm just trying to think of something else before I do end up doing that. Let's see, this part, where are you? Here it is. This broke on me, this clip, and I ended up having to add metal just to keep the clip on, because it goes, you know, up here, because that's where everything clamps together. So I got to take all of this off, add a new clip in, and put it back together. Yeah, fun. As you can see, they put, you know, 1,000 pounds of hot glue on there. So lucky me. Get to rip all that off and go again. The LEDs, I lost one. As you can see, let me turn this thing on. So yeah, it ended up falling out. My suggestion: use super glue, hot glue, whatever, to, you know, keep those in place so you don't lose any. I did find them on Amazon. If I'm not mistaken, these are 3mm flathead blue LEDs. So you'll have to chop up the stems a little bit when you put them in, but you should be good to go. I think you get a package of like 25 or 50 or whatever it is for just a few bucks. So they're very cheap, but Amazon has them, and or eBay. Also, keep in mind that your battery pack, you have 2 batteries, that's going to give you 3 volts. So make sure that your LEDs are 3 volt, not 1.5, because you'll fry them if it's a 1.5 LED. So definitely keep that in mind. So if you order any, make sure they're 3 volts and higher. What I also ran into, guys, is some of the connections. Let me go back over to the hand. What I ran into was this here, that area right there, is a power plug for your repulsor. It came off on me, and the hot glue, didn't hold, so I ended up having to tape it on. So it still worked, but still, just like it's an easy fix, but it's just something else to deal with. So make sure you check your connections on everything as far as electronics go. Hot glue, your connections where they do meet, so that you don't have any problems, and or electrical tape, duct tape, something to where that they're not, that nothing's going to come off on you, while you're doing poses, this, that, and the others. You can see, like this one, I put duct tape around that because that kept coming off. And there was one time it did get ripped off and it bent the prongs, and so yeah, I had to end up bending everything back, and it wasn't really that great. So thank God I did have it, and I did have the duct tape available at the time. So that worked out pretty good. Anything else, guys? Hit me up on the forums. I'm under Super Dave. I've talked to a lot of you already, and back and forth. And I hope a lot of you have gotten your suits. It's just a huge work in progress. I try not to discourage anybody from buying one of these suits and or getting their refunds. These reviews are on my suit. My suit only, not anybody else's. I hope nobody else is going through this much trouble. These are just modifications that I'm doing to make it better for me, and just the trouble that I'm running into as far as doing mods and paints. It's just everything. I haven't ran into any really bad electronic issues with the suit, and for now, that's pretty much it. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. There's been several of you already that's asked me a lot of questions, and I've done pretty much what I can as far as giving you pictures and short videos, and of course emails. It's just a big, huge project. So it's great when you got it on. People love it, and use your imagination when it comes to a lot of these modifications, guys. It'll be worth it, well worth your while. But again, this is just on review on my suit, and that's what I've got for now. So Dave, I'm signing off. Questions, hit me up, guys. All right, good luck, and hope everything works out for everybody. See you next time.